Hello everyone, in this particular video I am going to explain you the benefits of preparing an index in a subject like risk management and how you should ideally prepare an index so that you can take this in your examination. So what I would do, I would just solve a particular question from November 2019 and I would relate what is the benefit of using an index and what is the benefit of preparing an index, which is going to save an ample amount of time. So let's watch this entire video in order to understand the benefit and how to prepare a particular index. Before going on to solving this particular question, one advice which I would like to give all of you is that do read the questions first before reading the entire case study. What happens usually is that these questions are given from the module directly and some of the questions are not even related to the case study. For instance, this particular question has sub-questions which are not even related to the case study, and these questions answer you can easily find from the module itself. So I would recommend to solve these type of questions because these are going to be very scoring and you just have to simply cherry pick your answers from the page number of respective chapter of the module. So solve these type of questions first. In order to solve these type of questions, you have to read the questions first and then you have to jump to the case study. Because if you directly read the case study and if you then read the questions, you would then feel that there's nothing related to the case study and I have just wasted my time. So read the questions first and then go on to solving the case study. So I'll just quickly solve the questions and I'll tell you how the index would be beneficial. So insurable risks are most likely to arise from which of the following categorization of risks: hazard, control, or opportunity risks. So if I go to my index and if I just type control risks, you don't have to type in your examination, of course it is alphabetically sorted, so you know control risks begin from C, so they are going to be there in the C section. So on page 1.18 there's a definition of control risk given, maybe somewhere around 21.18. Yeah, so control risks have been defined over here, opportunity risks have been defined over here, and hazard risks have been defined on the previous page. So if you read about hazard risks, they have given that these are insurable risks. So the answer to this question is hazard risks, and therefore you can easily find this through your index. In annual report, it is necessary to have a section on management discussion and analysis. One of the following is not necessary to be discussed in the above section. So what I'll do, I'll quickly go to my index. I'll find management discussion and analysis. See, it is on page 7.11. So I'll quickly go to page 7.11 of the module. It will be somewhere around here. I think it's not there on 7.11, it's on 7.12. The index which I had created was from the older edition of module, so it has been updated now, so you can update the index accordingly. See, management discussion and analysis, it is given on page 7.12. So let's quickly read what are some of the factors, what are some of the content which is not necessary to be discussed. So opportunities and threats, yeah, they are to be discussed. Next is risks and concerns, even they are to be discussed. Details of managing insurance risks, I can't find it anywhere over here. And last is internal control systems and their adequacy, even they are supposed to be discussed. So therefore the answer to this question is what? Details of managing insurance risks. See how quickly and how easy it becomes if you have a particular index. Credit risk is insurable and has various components as per list in below except one. So I'll quickly go to my index, I'll type credit risk. Yeah, so credit risk components, this is on page 6.3. I'll quickly go to the module and I'll open page number 6.3, and once I open page number 6.3 I can get the components. See, these are the components of credit risk. So which of the following is not a component? Recovery risk, yes, it is a component. Then collateral risk, even that is a component. Exposure risk, even that is a component. And last is rejection risk, which is not a component. So the answer is D for this particular question. The purpose of risk evaluation is to do the following, one of which is not essential, which again I'll go to my index, I'll type risk evaluation, and if you see there's risk evaluation purpose, so it is given on page 2.15 of the module. It will be somewhere around here, page 2.15. It would tell me what is the purpose of risk evaluation. So the purpose of risk evaluation is to do the following, and we have to just identify which of the following is not a function. Okay, so this also is easy. Certain risks are called pure risks. In this kind of risks, either a loss occurs or no loss occurs. There is no scope for gain. Which of the following is not a pure risk? Again, as I told you, you can go to the index, you can type pure risk. You'll get this on page 1.17 of the module. If you go to page 1.17, you can get the examples of pure risks. See, so there are examples given over here: death, accident, disability, unemployment, reduction in value of assets, risk of legal liability. So you have to see which of the following is not there in this particular module. So the answer is loss in the share market, because all the other three are given in this particular examples. Okay, so I hope you can understand what is the importance of creating an index. Let me quickly jump to the subjective questions also. Define what a pure risk is and distinguish it from other type of risks. Again, this is simple. You just have to copy paste this entire table. So again, one advice which I would like to give is that you don't need to necessarily copy the entire content. It would be very time consuming if you are if you are going to copy the entire content. You just have to copy the main key sentences which according to you are important in this particular illustration. So I'll explain you in the next question also that I did not write the entire content and I just wrote whatever was relevant. Why operational risk management is important for the management of the company. Go to the index, type type as in find operational risk management. Yeah, operational risk management, it is given on page 9.3. I'll quickly go to page 9.3 and I'll get the importance of operational risk management. See, relevance of operational risk. So why is operational risk relevant for accountants, auditors and management professionals? So you don't have to copy this entire content. What you have to do, you just have to copy the first two or first three lines of each and every bullet point. Of course, if you're going to copy this entire content, it is going to take a lot of time. So remember that you just have to copy the relevant portion, and as I've told you in my previous videos also, you have to allocate the time for each and every question. So this is a 4 marker question, so you have to ensure that you don't take 4 upon 100 into 240, since this is a paper of 4 hours, so there are going to be 240 minutes. So you don't take more than 2.4 into 4, which is 9.6 minutes. So you shouldn't take more than 10 minutes for this particular question. Okay, so you have to ensure this thing. Now this particular question is the one which I'm talking about. What is the role and responsibility of the risk manager, and what are the objectives and process of risk management to prevent losses? So role and responsibility of risk manager, I'll quickly find risk manager. See, risk manager role. So it is given on page 2.30 of module. Page 2.30. So now here, okay, since this is an updated edition, there isn't a role of risk manager. I'll just find it. It will be somewhere on the next page itself. Yeah, see, this is the role of risk manager. So remember to update this particular index as per your edition of module. I had updated it as per my edition of module. So I didn't write all these roles, 15 roles. What I did, I just wrote 4 or 5 roles maximum, which were given in one sentence, one line. See, I didn't write this particular thing because it was of 2 lines and it would have wasted a lot of time in order to write this entire thing. So what I did, I just wrote the major one-liner, one sentences points, and I was able to write 4 or 5 lines in this particular question. So ensure that you don't write and you don't waste your time in writing all these 15 points. You just have to write the relevant 4 or 5 maximum so that you don't consume a lot of time. Okay, and what are the objectives and process of risk management to prevent losses? Again, that is given in this particular next part itself. So you can analyze the benefit and you can now know what is the benefit of creating an index, and this is going to help all of you in this particular paper of risk management in terms of solving it very quickly. I'll also discuss two multiple choice questions which had come in my attempt itself. So the answer to these were very, I couldn't find the answer to these particular questions because of the detail which they were asked, because of the depth in which they were asked. So which of the following would least likely enable the identification of new risks? Now conducting root cause analysis, and these 4 options are given. If I quickly just find out conducting root cause analysis, so this is the sentence which they had picked and this is the MCQ which they had asked. So if you see, recording incidents in a register, conducting root cause analysis, and periodically running some trend analysis reports to analyze incidents can potentially enable new risks to be identified. Okay, so these are the 3 options which can potentially enable new risks to be identified, and I had to choose which one of the following options is not given. Least likely enable the identification of new risks. So you can now understand that institute is asking MCQs literally from any of the sentence of the module. So in terms of preparing the index, what you have to ensure is that whenever you see a comma or whenever you see that there are 3 points written in a particular sentence, you have to ensure that you cover this particular point in your index. For instance, there are commas and there are 3 particular points in this particular sentence. So there are high chances that institute can ask MCQ from this particular sentence, and they can give 4 options out of which one is not available in this sentence. So what you can do, you can ideally write in your index that how to potentially enable new risk, how to identify new risks. So you can write this particular thing in your index, which will help you in order to score good marks and find any particular answer quickly. I had not written this thing because it didn't strike me that even institute can ask in such a detailed manner. So what you have to ensure that whenever you see a comma and whenever you see 3 or 4 items in a particular word, you have to ensure that you cover them in your index. I'll quickly give you one more example which was asked from one particular sentence out of the blue. The proposed action of the management to provide training and safety programs would fall under which alternatives? So if I control F, insurance alternatives, this was the answer, and this is the sentence, which they have asked from the MCQ, for the MCQ. Training and safety programs might be considered insurance alternatives. Now for a human mind, trust me, it won't be possible for a human mind to remember each and everything. Now even I did not write this particular thing in my index, but then one advice which I'm giving all of you is that whenever you see that an MCQ can be created from a particular question, you have to ensure that you cover this particular aspect in your MCQ, in your index. So for instance, institute asked the MCQ from this particular sentence. So what advice or what you should do ideally in order to solve these kind of MCQs? First of all, you should try to read the modules multiple times, as many times as possible, and secondly, try to create a very detailed index so that whichever questions or whichever MCQ come in your particular examination, you can find it easily from your answer sheet. So if you think that this can be an MCQ which can be made, so you can type insurance alternatives in your index and you can take it with you. Okay, so these are two of the MCQs which were asked from minute detail, and which I was not able to answer frankly because I did not create a detailed index. So I'm advising all of you to create a thorough index so that you don't lose out marks in the MCQ. So this is one of the advice which I would like to give, and wherever you find that an MCQ can be based, so you should ideally pick up that particular sentence. For instance, see, now this particular sentence says that this communication plan is commonly known as a call tree. So what may happen that MCQ can be asked on this particular call tree aspect, and they can give 4 types of MCQs, out of which one option can be call tree, and therefore it is essential that you should write this particular call tree in your index. So I had written this particular thing in my index, and I had written this, it is on page 9.24. So MCQs can be asked from any part of the module, so try to ensure that you cover the module and you prepare a detailed index so that you are not losing out on your MCQs, neither the subjective part. So this is all about the index, and ensure that you also create SFM and IPCC financial management topics index, because a lot of questions are also asked from this particular index as well. So in May 2019 there were 2 multiple choice questions which were asked from these particular modules, and don't ignore this particular modules, these particular chapters, because they are essential. There's one more chapter in IPCC named investment decisions, and that is also relevant. Do take a printout of that chapter, and chances are there that questions would be asked from that chapter also. So thank you so much for watching this video. I hope this video was useful for all of you. I hope that you can now prepare an index. If you want, you can always download this particular index. I've already shared this particular link of this particular index through my first video. Click on the I button and you can definitely access this particular index, and you can update it accordingly. So I hope this particular video was useful for all of you. If you find this particular video useful, do share it with all your friends and subscribe to my channel so that I can create more videos for all of you. Thank you so much for watching this video. See you in the next video.